Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, Minnesota Vikings 3-4, 2-1 on the road at the Green Bay Packers, 2-4, 1-1 at home, Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. 42 Fahrenheit showers, 10 miles per hour is the expected weather. Those purple people eaters, it was so easy fading my 49ers. Who better than you to fade your team? That was so easy last night. God, that was easy. If they were all like that, Troy.
Hey, did Kirk Cousins not play the best game of his career? I mean, to me, he was so damn impressive. I thought he was extremely impressive.
It was very, very easy. Under the same game parlay, the Vikings. Good God. All right, let's talk about the line history here for this one. Vikings, Packers, and the storied rivalry here. Let's see what we are dealing with. It is at +1 right now for Green Bay. Green Bay opened up at -1. They are now +1. That line move towards Minnesota. Obviously, we have a bias in our heads, and if that's a 49ers team come playoff time, they'll be eliminated immediately. That's not the 49ers team that I believe we will see then. But so I don't want to get too caught up in what we just saw, but nothing makes me want to back the Packers. Let's take a look at the total here in this one. I imagine the Vikings will just get hammered. At least we're seeing the market move on it. Sitting at a under 43, it is juiced to -110. So we've had a 3-cent move to the under. Let's get over to the cash flow here for this one. 21% of the tickets and 65% of the cash is on the Packers. So big bets have come in on the Packers, and yet this line is moving towards the Vikings. From a total scenario, you have 73% of the tickets and 90% of cash on the under, not really moving from where it is. Birdie says he'll be betting Green Bay in this game. Says just let this line continue to go up. Who is not betting the Vikings off beating the Niners? Horrible spot for the Vikings here, a season-defining win. And we've talked often about what happens after you play the 49ers, too. They're a physical group. Sure, it didn't look too physical last night, but they're a physical group. The Vikings are on short rest since their 22-17 win at home last night over the Niners. 452 yards of offense against that tough 49er defense. Kirk Cousins, as Troy was saying, 35 of 45, 378 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Jordan Addison had a monster game. I really believe that will be the last time that Osborne and Addison will get sort of the same attention. We talked about that pregame, and that was the reason we were all on Addison touchdown. They need him to step up with Justin Jefferson on the IR, and now he's got a ton of confidence going into this one. Hawkinson caught 11 passes for 86 yards. Alexander Madison continues to do very little on the ground, 8 carries for 39 yards. Cam Akers had more carries than him. Cam had 10 for 31. They were 8 for 13 on third down, much better than they've been all year. They're ranked 26th in the league, converting just 34.2% of their third downs. They were 0-2 in the red zone. They continue to struggle there. They're 20th in the league, getting touchdowns 52.9% of their opportunities. Ezra Cleveland didn't play, but Dalton Risner, we remember Dalton. He looked good. He was fine. Now, Marcus Davenport was placed on the IR earlier in the week, last week. And now you can double Danielle Hunter with impunity. And Davenport signed that 1-year, $13 million contract in the offseason to take some of the pressure off of Hunter. And now you double Hunter. Hunter had the lone sack, 2 of their 3 quarterback hits, but this is going to be a problem moving forward. Cameron Bynum had 2 interceptions. The defense is not good. And just because they, shut down that 49er squad, I don't think that we should think that they're good now. They're tied for 26th in the league, allowing touchdowns on 66.7% of opponents' red zone drives. The 49ers were 5 for 9 on third down. This Vikings team is 25th in the league, allowing opponents to convert 43.5% of their third down opportunities. The Packers come in off a tough 19-17 loss at Denver. The offense did not look good. Shut out in the first half. During their last 4 games, the Packers have been outscored 63-6 in the first half. Unbelievably bad. They ranked 28th in the league, averaging 281.6 yards per game. Jordan Love, 21 of 31 for 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. No receivers could do anything. No receiver caught for more than A.J. Dillon's 34 yards. Dillon also ran 50 times for 61 yards. Aaron Jones returned from the pulled hamstring. He gained 58 yards. They were 6 of 14 on third down, 2 of 2 on fourth down, 2 of 3 in the red zone. They've been very good this year in the red zone. Touchdowns on 62.5% of their opportunities. That's sixth in the league. The Green Bay defense could not get enough pressure. Finished 1 sack, 3 quarterback hits. Held the Broncos to just 1 of 4 in the red zone. Their rush defense is bad. They let the Broncos run for 145 yards, which is right around their average. The Packers are ranked 28th in the league, allowing 143.4 yards per game. So you look at Madison, and that's not an advantage. Like, this is a great spot for the Packers because Madison's not going to hurt you on the ground, and either is Cam Akers, and that's clearly their weak spot. Their defensive lineman, Devontae Wyatt, is questionable. Safety Darnell Savage hurt his calf. He's doubtful this week. Cornerback Eric Stokes is listed as questionable with a hammy. Luke Musgrave left after the legal hit by Jackson. And with David Bakhtiari out for the year, the Packers could get some help on the offensive line. Luke Tenuta is expected to return after the IR stint. So because everybody just saw the Vikings beat the 49ers, I don't want the Minnesota Vikings. And I don't want the Green Bay Packers. So where should I look? And the under is probably the most appealing thing right now. But I'll have a better idea of what I should do after I read the chat and hear what you have to say about this game. Troy, take it away, Vikings, Packers.
Yeah, I think you covered a lot of it. I just wanted to say, just piggyback on what I said about Kirk Cousins. This guy has been incredible. Best play action success rate in the NFL. He also, just like Baker Mayfield, they have the two high. It's funny how the two highest play action teams can't run the football at all. The only difference is the Bucs win at the offensive line in the run blocking game. They just have no running backs that could deliver yards after the run or after contact. And here's the best thing about the Vikings is they actually have combined between pass blocking and run blocking the best offensive line in the NFL. That's how it's grading out so far this year to date. I think it's one of the best coached teams in the NFL when you look at Brian Flores on the defensive side, who continues to have success despite having such a lack of talent. I think there's a huge hole on that defensive roster. They're very bad. They're good on the defensive line and bad everywhere else. And when it comes to the Packers, yeah, sure. They're coming off 3 consecutive losses. They're coming back to the house. Jordan Love is not grading out very well on his report card. However, when he's blitzed, and we know the Vikings like to blitz at 50, 60%, that's actually where his best numbers are. His best touchdown to interception ratio, his best efficiency, all of his efficiency metrics are the best when he's blitzed. So I think that's actually very heavily favors the Packers. And sorry, I can't catch my words. I'm running off like no sleep at this point, trying to put together as much as I can for you guys. So just try to work with me when I can't catch my tongue. But in this game, I already backed the Packers. I took the Packers at 1.5. I couldn't wait. Something I probably should have been more patient on, like Bertie said in the chat. But I do plan on allocating more units to this game. If this number starts getting up to 2.5, 3, if they hang a 3, I'll definitely hammer it. I just don't trust the Vikings. You get them away from that dome, get them outside, get a pissed off Packers team, and you get the Vikings, a bad team, in my opinion, off a win against the 49ers. It's a perfect spot. So I'm on the Packers, and I'll probably be heavier invested when this line moves.
Yeah, this makes sense. It makes sense. I don't think either team is good here.
Right.
Here.
I agree.
And I'm starting to prefer to stay off. Sky Dragon said the first half under if you made him bet it but pass. And Spenny Pennybombs is on the over. Says 4 of the last 5 mini games in Green Bay have gone over. Yeah, I think your look on the Packers makes a ton of sense. I'm going to watch this line very closely. When we go back to it right now, it's probably a better look to judge it by what's gone on on the money line rather than the +1 to the -1. So what it's done is it has very quickly before we move on to the next spot on the board, Green Bay sitting at +104, and they opened up at -106. So 10 cents of movement. Interesting.
You know what, Jimmy? That's another thing is that when these home favorites flip the home dogs, the home team is the right side, historically speaking.
That's wild. Yeah, I think I don't want the Vikings under any. There's just no chance I'll be on the Vikings, and the Vikings' inability to run the ball to hurt the biggest weakness of the Green Bay Packers I imagine will be detrimental here. So I'm interested in your Packers. So I'm going to leave question marks by it, not asterisks, but question marks. And Charlie Chip says Vikings and Akers will destroy. Charlie, everybody, there's going to be enormous amount of public on the Vikings after everybody watching Monday night. Short week against the angry Packers team that's been losing. Very, very, very interesting spot. Troy's already moved on the Packers +1.5. Let's move on.